Hello, this is KiwaniTalk. My name's Ray Scabori. I'll be your host for this evening's program. KiwaniTalk is a public information program brought to you from the facilities of WDHS at Dearborn High School. We're here today with two representatives of Vista Maria. And they're the representatives that they are Mike Smith, who's the Director of Foster Care, Mike, and Tamika Merriman, who is Foster Care Adoption Program Manager. It's nice to have you with us today.
Thank you for having us.
Okay.
Thank you.
So as we were talking about before the show, we've interviewed representatives of Vista Maria 4 or 5 times before on this show. But things have evolved over the years. And your section of Vista Maria is one that has become a big section with filling a big need to find homes for children who need them. And why don't we do it this way? Mike, give me a little background, how your education and what brought you into this business, and how you ended up here at Vista Maria.
Thank you. Well, it was some life experiences early on in my life before education was even a thought.
Okay.
Because I was connected to the foster care system in the state of Michigan, and there was a family that opened their home for me, which gave me an opportunity to follow my dreams. From there, I went to small town America, Whitmore Lake, Michigan. Graduated high school with 68 people. From there, I went on to Eastern Michigan University in Ypsilanti, Michigan. From there, I went to Wayne State University in the city of Detroit, earned my MSW from there. And then I started specializing in marriage and family therapy. Worked for an agency prior to coming to Vista for about 30 years, and then Vista adopted me, is what I like to say. And I've been there for almost the last 6 years, working with a great team, developing foster care in the community.
Okay. You do a great background. I don't need to say anything else. Oh. But we'll go over to Tamika, and can you give us a little background of what brought you to Vista Maria?
Certainly. So kind of like Mike, I was connected to foster care a little bit, had some issues at home growing up, and that developed my heart and love and compassion and empathy for kids who go through things at home. I was a teenage mom, had my first kid at 19, and it took me a little longer, but I finished my bachelor's degree, and that's what opened up my world of social work, where I just took on a fire, like a burning, like, hey, Vista Maria is where I need to be. That was actually my first job in social work. I was a retail manager before that. So I've been at Vista ever since for 9 years, just finished my master's degree following in my great leader steps at Wayne State in December of 2021. And we are building our foster care team.
It sounds, that really gives me a good preliminary idea of your backgrounds. And now, Mike, why don't you kind of describe your department, how you're set up, and then and at any appropriate time you can refer it to Tamika if it's something that she's the one to talk about. You know,
she'll keep me in line and correct me when I get it wrong. But that's how we work together.
Sure.
We have that chemistry and that relationship. So since I've been at Vista, we've expanded because there's been a need. And I can't emphasize enough that we have a need, because we have so many children out there for different reasons are being brought to the attention of the court system. So the foster care program has continued to evolve. You know, it's interesting that you asked that question, because just most recently we've outgrown our office space, and we have to start, juggling. So that has continued to grow and develop. In addition to foster care, though, our adoption program over the last about year has exploded, where we have many more children that come to us either as permanent court wards or parental rights are terminated during the process that they're with us while they're in foster care. So we have a huge need for that. In addition to that, we have a community independent living program where it's for older teenagers between 16 and 21 years of age, where we need host homes and home providers, people in the community that are willing to open up their home to bring in a young person to show them love and guidance as they journey through adulthood.
So like you said, the need is great. We have over 13,000 children in the state of Michigan that are in need of foster home placement. And so our programs kind of work together, where Wraparound is a program to kind of prevent the removal. It's a pilot program that Mike is heading up, something that we're trying to get more into the prevention, so we don't have to go through the pipelines that we go through. But then from that program, we also have foster care where removal can't be prevented. And so the kids are in foster care, and of course we try to stabilize and reunify those kids with their parents as often as we can. But like Mike said, there's times where we just can't, and then rights are terminated, and then those kids fall into our adoption program. Sometimes kids reach the age of 14 and they have a right to say that they don't want to be adopted and they would rather, you know, live independently, and then they go into our independent living program. And so all of our programs kind of work together, and I think that's the uniqueness of us now, is that we're a real solid team that help each other out. Whichever route we need to get kids to permanency, that's the route that we take, and we work really, really well as a team under Mike's leadership. But as Mike said, all of those avenues, there's a need.
Yeah. Now, Vista Maria it has this service, okay, and there are other organizations that have similar service. Do you coordinate with them? I mean, is there any interaction with other organizations that maybe like maybe you got a problem and do you have any other organizations you can talk to?
We do. There's several other private agencies that provide foster care services. And then sometimes we don't have space available for a young person, and we have what's referred to as a borrowed bed agreement. So we'll reach out to another agency that may have a home that's available that meets the needs of this young person. So we have those collaborative relationships with other agencies.
And they might call you in the same spot.
That is correct.
So yeah, and a lot of times it's like an emergency placement.
Yeah,
you have those, I imagine, don't you?
We do.
A lot, often. One of the things that I'm very proud to say is that Vista Maria has been known to take kids that other places can't, due to some of the behaviors or anything that a child may be experiencing. We very rarely say no, and a lot of times when there are emergency placements, our contracted partners, Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, reach out to Vista Maria. So yes.
Yeah, it's really a tremendous service, you know, because these young people are they're on the spot. They, you know, they can't, you know, and it's you have the legal responsibility to take care of them, actually.
Yeah.
And that's a great. It's just like being a parent almost.
Yeah. It is, and you know, for me and my colleague Tamika, it's clearly goes beyond. It's a legal responsibility, and for us, it's a moral responsibility, and it's a value, and it's mission driven because of who we are about giving back. Because somebody gave to us.
Yeah.
It's obvious. It's obvious that you feel great responsibility to care for these young people.
Well, unfortunately, the kids get I don't want to say a bad rap, but kind of a bad rap. It's like, you know, now that we're becoming a more trauma-informed society, some of the things that these children have suffered is tremendous, and to expect them to be perfect and, you know, without any issues is almost unfair, you know? So we take on that and we put it on our shoulder, and we love each child, no matter if they came from us, from our families or our household or not. We treat them all with dignity and respect because they didn't ask to be in their current situation. Yeah,
and usually if you treat a child that way, they come around pretty well after a bit, you know?
Children are very, very resilient.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Now I can't imagine what how much this COVID-19 must have affected your operations. I mean, do you have any comments about how you
Well,
how it affected your day-to-day business?
Well, I will say I'm actually very proud of our team, because even when people were at home and under the stay-at-home order, we were still seeing kids. We had to ensure the safety and well-being of our kids, even if that meant a porch drive-by, or a peek through the window. We still had to ensure the safety of our kids. So yes, it was challenging. Our foster parents, God bless them, it was challenging for them, where parents are still saying, hey, I have a right to visit with my children. And you're like, but I want to protect my household and keep, the kids from returning back with COVID. So I would like to just commend our foster parents and our team that we did the best that we could under those circumstances. And we adjusted and followed the rules of MDHHS as best as we could. But, I mean, of course it was difficult, but hats off to our team.
And I'd like to add to that over the last 2 years during this pandemic, there's been over 140,000 children in the United States that had lost a primary caretaker as a result.
That was I was hoping that would come out, because I can imagine that and it's tremendously traumatic to lose a parent.
Yeah. So just to add to that, right, is that earlier when I said we have a need, we have even a greater need for foster homes, and my guess is it's going to continue in that direction. So,
loss of a parent also usually creates financial problems, and many other problems. If it's one parent left, and the money has to come from someplace. They have to be working. Especially younger children. How do you? They need to be cared for.
Right, that's true.
Yeah. I imagine some placements get even come from problems like that, where there's been a loss of a parent, and there's just a financial situation where it's hard to care for the children.
People have a tendency during those times to almost give up hope, and that's where neglect starts to play a factor into whether or not a young person is going to be removed or not. Giving up hope is, a significant event that occurs in some people's lives. So.
Well, we have to take a little break. We do a little advertisement for Kiwanis, and when we come back, I'd like to kind of structure how you feel your programs could develop in the future, and we can kind of think about that and talk about that a little bit after the break. So. We're going to take a break now, and we're here with Mike Smith and Tamika Merriman from Vista Maria, from the foster care department.
We protect, we encompass, we embolden, we empower. Vista Maria is a place for girls, youth, and their families to realize a life beyond trauma and ignite a life of possibility. We know that it takes a fearless heart to overcome the challenges of abuse and trauma to move forward. The unwavering courage, boundless love, and audacious vision established in 1883 by our foundress, Sister Mary Frazier, is carried forward today and is alive in all that we do. We protect. The uphill climb doesn't scare us, but not caring for these young people does. The depths and lengths we go to change a life are not daunting to us, because we're equipped with a fearless spirit, a burning, active, and alert zeal to do everything we can to make progress, to make a difference. We encompass. We know that it takes a fearless heart to overcome the challenges of abuse and trauma and to move forward. What began as a home for girls and women in need has evolved to encompass mental health services, education and after-school programs, foster care, adoption, independent living, and safe treatment housing for young survivors of human trafficking. We encompass youth through our continuum of programming and our advocacy for foster children and families. We embolden. Our fearless heart sees a path beyond trauma and ignites a life of possibility. We are visionary in our approach and unrelenting in our quest to provide the best care and support for vulnerable children and families. Vista Maria will never stop because every young person deserves to start. We empower. We are unwavering in our journey to keep them safe and help them grow to become strong, to heal and transform, to love and empower them, and to be courageous in pursuing new ways to bring wholeness and possibilities to those who need it most. From trauma to triumph, we are visionary in our approach and unrelenting in our quest to provide the best care and support to vulnerable children and families. Our belief in every person's worth propels us to action, pursuing new ways to protect, embolden, encompass, and empower youth and their families.
I'm protected, I'm encompassed, I'm emboldened, I'm empowered.
Hello, I'm Ray Scaboria. We're here on KiwaniTalk, and we're talking with Mike Smith and Tamika Merriman from Vista Maria, and they're in charge of the foster care program at Vista Maria. And we were talking at our break a little bit, and what I wanted to do is, you have a need for foster parents all the time, foster families. And if they aren't relatives, they have to be licensed. Is that correct?
Yes.
Can you describe the program that that allows you to become licensed as a foster parent?
Yes. So at Vista Maria, we have a licensing team. And so you would basically attend an orientation to get all of the information. What is the state requirements? One of the misunderstandings is that you have to be married. You don't have to be married. You don't have to be a homeowner. As long as you have a home with a bed or a room for a child to sleep in and you can afford all of your bills, you can become a licensed foster parent. So you would attend an orientation, learn about all of the licensing rules, and these are not Vista Maria's rules. These are the state of Michigan's rules to be a licensed foster parent. And then you'll hear about our agency, what our mission is, what we value. And as long as you're in agreement with the licensing rules and our mission, you sign an application. From the time that you sign an application, a licensing worker is assigned to you. They will come out and do a home inspection to make sure that your home meets all of the requirements of the state of Michigan. They'll interview people who live in your home to make sure you're a good parent if you have other kids, right? Yeah. You don't want a person to be a licensed foster parent and their own children are saying, my mom is a horrible mom, right? So they'll interview everybody in your home and they'll create a home study and basically give it to the state of Michigan and say, we recommend this person for licensure. The state of Michigan will look at background checks, make sure that your fingerprints are clear and you're not wanted by the police. And then if everything checks out, they agree and stamp it and give you a license. That process can take normally anywhere from 90 to 120 days if the foster parent or if the person is motivated to become a foster parent. You will have to submit documents such as a copy of your license and proof of insurance and things like that. So as long as we're getting documents timely, we have been able to license some people within 90 days.
Okay. Now, if they come to you indicating that they want to become a foster parent, then you kind of shepherd them through this program. You help them out with meeting the requirements.
Of course.
So that's an extra responsibility that you've taken on in order to have an adequate number of foster parents.
Of
foster
course,
families.
we welcome them the Vista way. We make
Yeah.
sure that we encourage them along the way, even if life happens, right? Sometimes people get busy. We continue to keep in touch and follow up and follow through, even if that means we need to come by your house and pick up some of those things.
Yeah.
We go the extra mile because the need is so great.
Yeah. So now you were saying, I believe, Mike, you told me you have 64 foster
Licensed homes, yes.
licensed homes at the
Yes.
moment. But you'd be happy to have some more if you could.
I could take 50 to easily.
Easily.
Absolutely. And part of me doesn't feel good to say that, but the reality is the need is there.
Yeah.
And in addition to the licensed foster homes, we have another program that was started a few years back, and that's called treatment foster care. So that is a licensed foster home, but specially trained to work with young people that have more behavioral challenges that are brought to our attention.
And obviously, that's a home where the people signed up for that, where those foster parents signed up for that, and they've had additional training to help cope with a child that might have some issues.
Yes, that is correct, and we promote support in connection and relationship, that they're not in this alone, that it's a partnership with our group of people, which includes our direct care foster care workers, the supervisors, the manager, Tamika, myself, our licensing workers, everybody. And when we bring somebody new on, we look at that as we've increased our extended family.
Yep.
Because it has to be that way in order for it to be successful.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's I get the family feeling from you. I get that feeling, and I guess it's got to be that way, because that's the way you help young people, give them a family.
Mm-hmm.
And we also host a lot of retention events where we want to make sure that we're not just talking to talk. We do things with our foster families, and we bring our own families, because we're all a family. Like, no one is better than the other. So if we host a splash event, I'll bring my kids and we'll all splash, together. And we do try to create the family-like
Tell me
feel.
about the splash event, just a little more about what it is.
Before COVID, we used to host a splash event. We would find a water park of some sort.
Oh, okay.
And we would, make sure all of our foster parents and foster kids can come, and we have a pool day. And then when they leave, they get a backpack with back-to-school supplies or something like that in it. We also host a Christmas party every year, where we have all of our foster parents come to our campus, and we rent video game trucks. Mike here is Santa, and we pass out gifts, and we have a DJ room and a photo booth for our teenagers, because we want to share that time, the holidays, with our extended family, as Mike would say.
Yeah, and everybody's invited, the whole crowd.
That's correct.
The whole team.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good in another way too. You can stay a little closer to your foster families that way,
Yeah.
because you see them in person more often, maybe.
We also did a foster parent gala one year where all the foster parents can get dialed up, and it was like a prom night. We had stars on the ceiling, and you just come and you wear your gown and dance. No kids. Just
no kids.
They
That's
can
right.
actually
A
get a
night
break.
out.
Where were the kids?
Hey, they found
Babysitters.
alternate caregivers.
All of the caregivers. Okay.
But yeah, we value our foster parents. It takes a village. It's not, anyone who's a foster parent with Vista Maria won't be alone.
Now, without mentioning any names, give like a range of ages of foster parents.
Honestly, lately we've seen more younger couples who are just starting their families who have began to foster. So I would guess like low 30s for the youngest, and if I'm correct, about 72 for the oldest.
72.
That's right.
I'm afraid I'm out of I'm
Yeah.
79.
Close though. I just want to add one little tidbit that, like Mike mentioned too, for independent living providers, we call them host homes. If they're interested in being a host home provider, they don't have to go through the licensing process as I described. That process is a little bit shorter, and Mike can speak better to that because he normally assesses those homes. But I just want to make sure that people know that there are shorter ways to help out.
And it's for the older children, if you will.
When you say older, where would the older start? 12 or 13 or 14?
16.
16. Okay, so it's more like 16 and up. So,
That is correct.
Okay.
And that's part of the continuum.
So these are young people that have a higher level of independence. You know, I mean, they can. Well, some of them can drive. I don't know that
Yes.
they have a vehicle, but they can walk to school if they're close enough. You know?
Or
Yes.
catch the bus.
Yeah. Or catch the bus. Yeah.
So they do have a greater level of independence, and we want to get them to the point where when they're done with us, the likelihood of them to be successful into going into adulthood further is increased. So
Yeah. So those they would start at around 16 and they could go up all the way to 21 possibly.
correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. And the whole goal is for the host home provider to assist them with learning how to live independently. You teach them how to do laundry, how to grocery shop, how to balance a budget. What do you do when you get your paycheck? You know, how do you disperse it and make sure that your money stretches?
Now, give me the age range for that group as a guess. Just you don't have to give
Host
me
home
exact.
providers.
Host
How
home
old are they?
providers.
Oh,
I would guess they'd be a slightly older group.
you know, we have a range of people that have opened up their homes. I would say the mid-30s, as
Okay.
Tamika said.
So it's about the same.
Yeah, it's
about
very
the same.
close to the same.
Okay.
Yeah. And you know, it's slightly different because the state of Michigan does not license those homes.
Now, I have one other question. Your foster parents and your host home parents, are they pretty much in this geographic area, pretty close around here?
Yeah.
So we actually service Oakland, Wayne, and Macomb County.
Okay.
Not that we would discriminate anywhere else,
No.
but normally Oakland, Wayne, and Macomb County. But if they're surrounding counties like Washington and somebody wanted to be a host home provider, we wouldn't say no.
Okay. Well, we're right here at the end, so I want to thank you very much, Mike Smith and Tamika Merriman, for coming on and talking about Vista Maria's foster care programs. And I hope there's someone out there that might consider joining the foster program at Vista Maria. And these are the people that you can contact, and they'd be happy to help you in that area. So thank you very much for joining us, and join us on KiwaniTalk again soon.